bless everyone out there in radio land. This is Barry and Karen coming to you live on twitch.tv on Embracing Marriage Ministries. And this is our Dare to Be Different podcast. It's Dare to Be Different live. This is our Sunday podcast. And we are here today thanking God for each and every one of you. I know I got a lot of loudness in the background. Yeah, I forgot to cut my fan down. So, y'all, yeah. Hold on, y'all. I'm going to cut my fan down.
Yeah, we forgot.
Yeah, because, boy, I tell you, I can't hear over
Yeah,
there.
it was hot earlier.
See, that's what happens when you go live.
Yeah. Yeah, just turn it back. Yeah.
All right. Now we're gonna try it again. Welcome to welcome to Dare to Be Different Live. This is a live podcast we do every Sunday on twitch.tv. And we thank God. This is Karen, Barry. We're here tonight just to kind of talk to you just about a few things. Well, more mainly because of the fact that this is Memorial Day weekend. My wife came up with a pretty good idea as far as talking about Memorial.
Mm-hmm.
So we want to basically just kind of share with you some things concerning that. We want to also let you know that if you're listening to this or if you're coming online and everything, we want you to know that we appreciate you being with us and thank God for everything that he's doing.
Mm-hmm.
So, hold on.
Yeah.
I think I went to the wrong one. Yeah, I need to go to the,
You trying to get to the bottom?
no,
Dictionary?
no. trying to get to the Twitch app. That's what I was trying to, so I can keep up with our chat. So yeah, I should have done. I'm sorry, I should have done all this before I started.
Yeah.
But anyway, wanted to kind of keep up with you guys and kind of see, who's online and say hello to whoever's out there, that kind of thing. So anyway, I hope everyone's Sunday went well. I hope everybody had a good day and having a good weekend. I hope you're planning and doing things that are decent. A lot of people, they celebrate. They don't really celebrate this day too much. Some of them, they celebrate with family. They go out and do barbecues and cook out. And the weather was pretty nice. We didn't get a chance to really get outside. We was just more mainly kind of resting up because it's been some kind of week.
Yeah, it's been a busy week.
Yeah, we had a busy week. We had, where we work, they have a yearly inspection, so everybody was pretty much kind of up in the air about that, and we had to stay on top of everything and make sure everybody was doing what they're supposed to do, and we're do what we supposed to do, and that kind of thing. So it's mainly been that kind of week, so we kind of decided to just kind of hang in and just rest and just, just be around each other and just kind of just relax. But
Yeah.
mainly, my wife, she's off this weekend. This is a weekend she's off, and so that's why she's sitting here all bright and sunny. Well,
Well rested.
yeah, we didn't do a whole lot. We got up late, and that was good because we usually get up pretty early in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
So when we get up early in the morning, and you do that for like 4 or 5, 6 days straight, it kind of takes a toll on you. So, but anyway, like I said, we want to talk about a little bit about Memorial Day.
Mm-hmm.
We had a couple of things pertaining to. Like I said, usually, I really wasn't planning to talk about Memorial Day until Memorial Day. My wife decided to, kind of talk about it a little bit. So, nevertheless, now we got to talk about it. So, here I am. So, here we are, talking about Memorial Day. Usually, I like to, in some cases, all right, y'all gonna hear a mouse click. Y'all just have to bear with me. Usually I like to get the meaning of the thing that I actually talk about.
Mm-hmm.
So what I'm gonna do is we like to find out, exactly, when Memorial Day started, I had an idea, but I don't want to try to do it off the top of my head. So we're gonna talk about what Memorial Day is, when did it start, and how it came to be what it is. So we do know that it is a federal holiday. It comes around pretty much the same time every year. It's held on the 28th of May. It was held on the 30th of May from 1868 to 1970, and then they made it official. They made it the unofficial start of the summer vacation season, while Labor Day marks its end. They say most people visit cemeteries. They probably had ceremonies today, or they will have ceremonies tomorrow for it, because it's on a Monday. It has different, say it's not to be confused with Veterans Day. It's a day of remembering the men and women who died while serving, whereas Veterans Day celebrates the service of all military veterans. So it's the ones that had lost their lives while serving in the military and serving in battle over the different times. It's also not to be confused with Armed Service Day. A minor U.S. holiday remembered celebrating early in May, which specifically honors those who are currently serving in the military.
Yeah.
So you got three different things that happens that celebrates those that have been in the military, that have served, those that have died serving, and those that are currently serving. I myself, I'm a veteran. I served in the U.S. Navy for about 2 years. I was supposed to be in for 4. But during my time, I made my time during the time I was there, and the ship I was on decommissioned, and we ended up getting sent to different areas. I decided, being young, not thinking, because my plan was I was going to go for a certain period of time. I was going to go about 4 years active, and I was going to do 4 years reserve. So I was going in for 8 years, and then I decided after the 4 reserve, whether or not I was going to re-enlist for another 4 or just do my reserve time after my active 4. Only did half my active because, like I said, when I was in the military, I was young. I wasn't really like I am now. I said if I had the mind that I had now then, I would have probably stayed the whole 20. I would have been an officer, because I was trying to, at the last minute, after I was being belligerent as a enlisted and not acting the way I was supposed to be as a young enlisted man, I wanted to decide to extend my career by being an officer. And so by the time I decided to change my mind about my request of getting out, he had already approved my request, because I requested to leave. Because I really didn't have a good experience in the military. I'm not going to say that I did. My experience in the military wasn't that great, due to the fact that 50% of it was my fault. The other 50, I can say, that had to been my environment. And, well, I say 25 my environment, 25 the people that I served under. So my station, I was stationed in a place which is closed down now. I served in Alameda, California. It was NAS Alameda, which was a base stationed a few miles outside of Oakland, California, and between Oakland and San Francisco. So I was near the 2 biggest bustling cities in the Bay Area. Also served on a ship that was 1,600 in complement, and they had 1,000 men and 600 women. That was fun. There was the USS Samuel Gompers AD-37. It's been decommissioned and sunk into Virginia Bay. No, I think it sunk it in Atlantic. No, they sunk it in Virginia Bay. They sunk it in Virginia Bay, took a whole lot to sink it. That was an old ship. They sunk it. So you could Wikipedia on it and found out they had sunk it. They took it to Norfolk, Virginia, when we got it decommissioned. And the place where I served, NS Alameda, which was also called Griffith Fields, was closed down shortly after, because a lot of bases during that time had got closed down. And so my base, plus the training center that I was in San Diego, which I love San Diego. I would love to go back there. It's nice out there. It actually closed down right during the time that I was in the military because George Bush has closed down a lot of the military bases due to military spending. He shut down a lot of bases, and that was one of them. So they still had a part of the military base there, but the training center was shut down in that area in California because they had no training center in California. It's just a regular train. It's not training. It's just a regular base, military base there. It's the only one that's remaining. The NAS Alameda is gone. They made it into, I don't know what they did with it. It's a memorial, basically, storages and memorials now, because I think the Hornet, which was in World War II, if I'm not mistaken, is stationed there. It's a memorial there.
Mm-hmm.
And also Griffith Fields, which was an airstrip, was used in the second installation of Matrix 2. And I found that out later on. They actually filmed the movie in Alameda. How I knew is I reckon. See, I've been there. I was there 2 years, technically 3, because if you count the time I was there from the time when it really started up to my time started, I was there like 3 years. And so 3 years, I remember some of those signs. So one of the times I was looking at the movie, and they did it on the airstrip, because the airstrip is big. I mean, it's like a full-fledged airstrip, full-fledged airport. Like, had a tower. They had landing, and they did a lot of practice for Tomcats, so they could be able to land and planes be able to practice land and stuff. It was a training for that. So there's a big field. So they built the makeshift freeway in that area. Mm-hmm. How I knew that is because they did it on part of the freeway where it is going into San Francisco. Mm-hmm. I saw the sign. You see the shoulder sign. If you watch the movie, once they made the car chase, when they was in the car chase, when these guys were chasing them in the car, and she was on a motorcycle, and they were chasing them down this freeway, and all these cars, that was actually Griffith Field, because the sign actually shows in the area where they live. They actually show Alameda, Oakland, San Francisco. Actually, they couldn't hide the sign. They didn't get rid of the sign. So I was like, man, they show Alameda. I say, man, they actually filmed it in Alameda, Oakland area. So it was pretty neat. I said, yeah, I've been there. You know, it's like, I thought it was neat. So that's why one of my favorites too, because it brings back memories of me being there. But I served with these guys, and we're now all veterans. Some of us are living, some of us are not. I hadn't seen any of my shipmates in so years. I had one person that actually was 2 people that was from this area that I was on that ship. One was a guy and a female. And the guy was from miles from where I stay, and the chick lived with me in the city. She come from the same city. And we was in different departments. Well, me and the guy was in the same department. Me and the chick wasn't. She was the only other person served at that ship with me. And so I hadn't seen the guy in like forever, so I don't even know if he's still alive or not. But and then there was another one I went to boot camp with. I saw him at the fair one time, one of these years. And but anyway, like I say, this year, this particular time, we want to remember why we served and why was what was served, and so it's a lot on this article. I'm trying to see where they actually established it. Okay, it will say on May 26, 1966, President Lyndon B. Johnson designated an official birthday place of the holiday by signing the presidential proclamation naming Waterloo, New York as the holding of the title. Say this follows the current resolution 587, which the 89 Congress had officially recognized that the patriotic tradition of observing a Memorial Day had begun 100 years prior to Waterloo, New York. And then they say the village credits druggist, I guess he's a pharmacist, Henry C. Wells, and the county clerk, John B. Murray, as the founders of the holiday. And say the scholars have determined that the Waterloo account was myth. Snops and science authors credit the Waterloo account, which don't make no difference to me. So So they actually did it during that time. So I guess the official thing, and they had different things in the South, and then, and whatever. So its main thing is that it's just to, it make they redid it. So they did it as a holiday, and it's been a holiday forever since the 1860s. So so it's a holiday that we celebrate, and a lot of people celebrate different ways. Some people go out and they get drunk and crash into people and do ugly things, and it has a lot of what they do, and it's like they do with Easter and any other holiday, and Christmas and New Year's, and any other holiday that's important.
Yeah.
They do whatever they want to do because it's a holiday. Holiday to him is a party. It means party to them, so that's what they're gonna do on the holidays. They're gonna party. They're gonna go out and they're gonna do whatever and be whatever and act however and whatever. So the thing is, just to kind of draw a line, just to kind of give an idea of that. Okay, so, but the idea that we've had, Israel's idea of a Memorial Day, their Memorial Day is actually Passover.
Mm-hmm.
Their Memorial Day is actually Passover, and their memorial, actual memorial act, is the Passover meal, or the killing of the Passover lamb.
Mm-hmm.
And in the book of Exodus, it talks about how that when Israel was in bondage to Pharaoh, and how he had put heavy burdens on them, killed their firstborn, God raised up a man called Moses.
Mm-hmm.
And Moses, when he was in his 40s, decided that he was going to, according to Hebrews, he decided in his 40s to deliver his people, but he did it the wrong way.
Mm-hmm.
He went out one day and he happened to see a Egyptian beating a Hebrew, and he asked him why he's beating this, and so he basically got upset because he saw him beating his man. So he said he looked one way, he looked the other way, and he ended up killing the Egyptian.
Yeah.
Well, for fear of Pharaoh, he took him and buried him in the desert. Well, the body was found, and so one day, the next day, he decided he was going to stop two Israelites from fighting.
Mm-hmm.
So all of a sudden, the Israelite that he tried to stop the fight, and he said, "What you gonna do? You gonna kill me like you did the Egyptian yesterday?" And so he knew he was discovered.
Yeah.
So what he ended up doing, he ended up fleeing into the wilderness, and he stayed 40 years with his father-in-law, who he had found a wife, and married his father, and married this man had like several daughters.
Yeah.
He had the oldest one.
Yeah.
And so Jethro. So Jethro basically put him out over his sheep. So hey, Scoobius, how's it going? So thank God for you, man. So when he got out there in the desert leading sheep, and a lot of times he would be by himself, and all of a sudden he ran across a site which was kind of familiar to a lot of people that heard it during that time, especially in high elevation. I had to read up on this. They call it, he saw what a lot of people call St. Elmo's fire, which is like an electrical occurrence that was seen on ships, on plants, and on trees, and mountains and high areas and stuff like that. It's static and phenomena. But God used that natural phenomenon as his opportunity to get Moses' attention.
Yeah.
So he went out there and he said, okay, he saw this, turned aside, and he saw his bush burning. So y'all know about the burning bush, and God spoke to him and told him that he was going to send him to deliver Israel. And he all of a sudden said, okay, but you might as well send somebody else, because I'm not the man, Hey, how you doing, y'all? Y'all just coming in. God bless y'all. Also, too, what happened, he left. He decided to leave. You can do it right there. Okay. He decided to leave and go back to Egypt. Well, God sent him with his brother Aaron to say, hey, go tell Pharaoh to let my people go. Let them go that they may serve me in the wilderness. Yeah. So he say, okay, fine, I'll go do that. But then, the story goes on, and they ended up the last plague. God sent 10 plagues, the last plague being the killing of the firstborn.
Mm-hmm.
Pharaoh was hard-headed. But God had already warned him, told Moses, say, I'm going to harden his heart because I want to show myself, show glory, show myself strong, and show my glory in this. I'm going to show you, I'm going to bring you out with a strong hand, a mighty arm.
Yes.
So he told him, he said, hey, he said, this is your last chance. Basically, he told him this is his last chance.
Yeah.
He said, you're going to have to let him go,
Mm-hmm.
or this is what's going to happen.
Yeah.
So he said, I ain't worried about him. For as I'm concerned, I'm God. Your God he can't touch me.
Mm-hmm.
But he saw this other stuff happening. That
Right.
some of this stuff couldn't get gotten rid of.
Mm-hmm.
He couldn't stop some of this stuff. So
Exactly.
it ended up happening
Mm-hmm.
that so God said, okay, this is how you're going to prepare for this.
Mm-hmm.
Now, during all this time, God had separated them and put them in the land of Goshen. That's where they ended up going. When Joseph brought his family there, he put them in Goshen. So they all multiplied and stayed in Goshen. So that when everything was happening, none of the plagues hit Goshen during the time when it hit all of Egypt.
Wow.
So now all of a sudden God had protected them, and he said, I'm going to cause a difference to come between you and my people. It's going to cause a difference between you and the cheap people in Egypt.
Yeah.
I'm going to make a difference. I'm going to cause a difference. That
Yes.
means he was going to, whatever was happening to them wasn't going to happen to you.
Right.
So a lot of times you see things going on in the world around you. There's things happening around you. Don't worry, because if you're in him, whatever's happening to them will not happen to you.
Yes.
There's some things that they are going through is because of them, not because of you and because of what's going on. Because if you're walking in the place where you are to live,
That's it.
if you're being in the place with him, you won't have to worry about some of this stuff happening.
No.
All you got to do is just stay with him and let him lead you and let him cover you and let him guide you. You don't have to worry about that.
That's it.
So here it is, this man getting a call at 80 years old, going and telling this king, who was this megalomaniac, who was proud of his own self, decided that he was going to keep Israel. He didn't even negotiate with Moses. He said, hey, they can go keep the cattle. No, everything has to go. Okay, they can go. Children can stay. No, they all go.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay, only these people go. No, everybody go.
Yeah.
So he wants everybody in wilderness. And okay, if they're going to go out, okay, you send them out without the cow, what are they going to sacrifice?
That's it.
If you send them out without the children, they'll give an opportunity to come back.
Right.
No, everybody goes, or you keep getting these plagues.
That's it.
So that's how it went. So when the firstborn, before this happened, God had given them one task. He said, I want you to take a lamb, one for every family.
Mm-hmm.
He's saying, I want you to kill that lamb for that family.
That's it.
Take the blood of it, and put it over your doorpost and over your threshold. And he said, when the death angel passes through the land, when I pass through, he said myself, when I pass through,
Yes.
I will see the blood and I will pass over you.
Right.
So he said it will pass, and that's when they got the term Passover, because they were passed over when the blood was applied.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the same with you. If you're in Christ, the blood has been applied to your life.
Yes.
And and death and condemnation has passed over you. You have been brought from death to life.
That's it.
And so what happened? He ended up going to Moses and telling Moses after he lost his son, take him, get out, don't want nothing to do with you. But he told them to stay in the house, eat this lamb, cook this lamb a certain way, eat it with bitter herbs, keep dressed and keep ready, because after this you're going to go. So they celebrated the meal, they did what they was told to do, and he said in the scripture that this particular thing that you do shall be a sign and a memorial to you, so all your generations.
That's it.
Memorial is something that you place to remember something that happened.
Right.
This was for you to remember what he had done,
Yes.
how he had brought you through, what he had brought you out of. And this, but every time they did this and every time they fulfilled this, it showed every time that God did this and that God did this for them.
That's it.
So every time that's just like you, every time you take communion. If you're a person that goes to church, you take communion. You don't take communion just to get a little cracker and wine or cracking grape juice.
No.
It's not about that. It's actually a remembering. Jesus told it, he say, take this cup, drink, eat this bread in remembrance.
That's it.
It's a memorial to what I have done. In memory of me. To remember what I've done for you.
That's
The
it.
sacrifice that I made, the blood that I shed, the body that was broken for you. So you do this so you can have a memorial, a memory of what I did.
That's it.
So that's what we're about.
Mm-hmm.
We're about making memories. We're about making memories so that God can bring it before our enemies and tell them, hey, this is what he did for me, or
Yeah.
this is what was done for me.
Mhm.
This is how they are. This is what happens.
Yeah.
Get set up as a memorial before God.
That's
You're
it.
giving. There was one particular case. I'm going to say this. There was one particular case in the book of Acts. It was talking about this man named Cornelius. Cornelius was a Roman centurion. And the interesting thing about this centurion is that he said that he prayed often and gave alms to the poor.
Mm-hmm.
And one day one of the angels came in and said to him, Cornelius, your alms and your prayers have come up before God as a memorial.
Glory. Wow.
That's amazing how that your prayers and what you give come up to God as a memorial.
Yes.
So God looked at that and say, this is something I can remember. This is what he did. This is what he's been doing. This is something before my face. I
Yes.
can't let him go with that. I got to bring him in the kingdom. If he's
Yes.
doing this and he's not even mine, can you imagine what he can do when he becomes mine?
Yes. Wow.
Can you imagine how much more you could do for God if you belong to God? How much more that you can express if you, and this is the thing, if you don't know him, I mean, everybody got their idea of God. We was listening to a message today, our pastor, the Mrs. Pastor, preached a message about how we perceive God.
Yeah.
And if you have a bad perception of God, or you don't even know God at all, some of you might not even believe there's a God. Because I'm talking to a lot of people today that have their idea of God is totally different than what I might believe God is.
Yeah.
And I understand that. I'm not trying to convert you to my belief system. But what I am trying to do is I'm trying to express to you that there is someone that is always remembering what happens.
Yeah.
He's remembering the memorial before him is the death of his son and his resurrection and the cost he paid to get you back.
Yeah.
Because you might not be his now, but eventually you'll become his because you are going to be encountered with a real God that knows real people, that has real problems. We all got real problems.
Yeah.
We all got real problems.
Yes.
How many people in the chat listening today, how many of you have real problems? I know these little fake problems that you might have. I mean real stuff. I mean real deal stuff.
Yeah.
I mean stuff that nobody else knows about.
That's it.
And I mean that's the kind of stuff that God deals with. God is in every area and notices everything. There's nothing without his notice, the word says. So going back to the story of Cornelius, he was doing this and it came up as a memorial before God. God said, okay, I got to send somebody to tell him, hey, I see you, what you're doing. And I'm going to do this. I want you to send for a guy. His name is Peter, surname Simon, surname Peter. Send for him and should give you the words of life. So here it is. Now, mind you, this is a Roman centurion. He's a Gentile. And Peter's a Jew, a real Jew. He wasn't no half Jew. He wasn't no just want to be a Jew. He was a real Jew.
Yes, he was.
And that's how they thought during, and they still kind of think that way. But how he was thinking then, he could not go in this man's house. Not because he was a Gentile. He didn't even deal with Gentiles. He dealt with his own. So this is what happened. He told him, he said, he was sitting up on the roof waiting to eat. God's like Delrin to say, I'm going to set this whole scene up. So all of a sudden he had a vision of these things. If you read the Bible, you probably would have read the story. But if you haven't, this is the story. You're sitting down, he had a vision. The big sheet let down, had all kinds of different animals in it. God told him, say, well, Peter, get up and kill one of them and get you something to eat. He said, Lord, nothing is unclean or common has never touched my lips. He know because of being a Jew, because there's certain things they could not eat. They
That's
weren't
it.
kosher. So they could not eat certain things, and he knew that. God knew that. God knew that when he put the sheet down. It wasn't no See, we think that God is I'll just do this stuff just haphazardly. He just don't know what's going on. We don't know us. He knew that when he put the sheet down. But God was proving a point.
That's it.
So when he put it down, he said, Peter, rise, say, and eat. And he did this. And he said, no, Lord, nothing is uncommon and unclean has ever touched my lips. He said, what I have cleansed.
Yes.
But basically, he said, what God has cleansed, you should not call unclean or common. What God has cleansed.
Right.
He said he did this like 3 times, and it took it up to heaven. So he was like trying to think about what was going on, and all of a sudden, he gets a knock at the door. 3 men. Man, it's 3 times. 3 men were standing at his door saying, hey, Cornelius wants to come to the house. He said that you have something that you need to share with us. So the Spirit said, go ahead, because I sent him. So he said, okay. So he went with him to Cornelius' house, and he spoke the message. And he told him first off, it is not something that is proper for a Jew to be in the house of a Gentile. But God has shown me that what he has cleansed, I can't call unclean. He already showed him that. So he had already prepared his heart to bring the words of life to Cornelius. And Cornelius and his whole house got saved. We got converted to Christianity because of one man deciding to put aside his prejudice and go and do what God called him to do.
That's good.
The thing is, what you do, the good you do, don't think God ever ignores that. And the good is not going to gauge you to how you get in heaven. Because a lot of people believe that if I do more good than bad, then that's going to determine whether I get in heaven or not. No, you're not going to get in heaven by good works. You're not going to get in heaven by a bunch of good works. There's a lot of people that have done a lot of good things and still won't go.
That's it.
Because it's not about what you do to get into heaven. It's about what has been done that gets you into heaven.
That's it.
It's about what was already done that gets you there. You don't have to do anything but one thing. Serve the one that did it. That's all you have to do.
Yeah.
And the thing is that your good works is going to determine what you get in heaven, not that you get in heaven. Because a lot of times your works that you do will determine what your reward is. So if you did a great work for God, guess what? You get a great reward. But then again, if you did a small work, you still get a great reward. Because there was a parable that talks about the payment of these guys that actually, it was a parable that Jesus gave about the laborers. He said a man wanted some laborers, and he called for laborers during the morning time to labor in his field. So he called them, he agreed with them a certain amount, and they went. So then later on, he got some more that was standing around idle, wasn't doing anything. So he asked them, hey, we'll agree for a certain time, and they went. So later on that evening, late in the evening, he got some more, and they went, and everybody was about to get paid. So the guys that came early that morning just thought they was going to get the most because they were there first. But everybody got the same wage. So they got upset. Because they figured, well, because we were there longer and had done more, we should get the same reward as more than everybody else. But God is a God of equality. So he told him, take what is yours and go. You cannot tell me how to deal with mine. He said, didn't you not agree for this wage? This is what you agreed to. This is what you're going to get. He said, but the last shall be first and the first shall be last. So he basically is saying that it's just like the last guy got called, he got paid the same thing you got. Because they agreed to that. He said, this is what you agreed to. I never said that you was going to get more just because you worked longer. So a lot of people going to think, oh, my reward, I'm going to get 2-3 mansions when I get in heaven. You can only live in one. You're not going to be omnipresent like God. Believe me. When you get to heaven, you're going to be just like you are now, just with a glorified body. You're going to be able to move the sound of thought, but you ain't going to be everywhere.
That's
So
it.
you ain't going to be able to live in 3 houses. You're going to have one.
Yeah.
Just like you here got here. You know, like these cats got these 3-4 houses and 7-8 cars and all that. You can only drive one. You can only live in one house. It's ridiculous. And so what it's going to take is going to take you to realize that what God has for you is for you.
That's it.
And it's no taking away from that. And whatever he has for you, it's going to remain.
Mm-hmm.
And so we want to encourage you today to let you know that what God has for you is always he remembers you, and he remembers the good thing that you've done. He's remembered the good things that you've said. He remembers the good thoughts that you had. He remembered the fact that you did serve him when you served him. He did remember the fact that you loved him when you did love him. He remembers the fact that you spoke up for him when you spoke up for him.
Mm-hmm.
He remembers that. He never forgets in it. He's not a God that forgets, because he knows the reward he has prepared for you. And that's what we're about.
Yeah.
We're about reminding you of a God that rewards you for not for what you've done, but rewards you for who you are to him. He loves you. And no matter how you might be feeling right now, no matter how you might be going through right now, God is in the business of showing himself to you.
That's
But
it.
then you say to yourself, you know, I know what a lot of you might be thinking, you know, this is, you know, man, you just talking, you know, archaic stuff. There's no God. Let me tell you this. If there was no God, I wouldn't be sitting here having this conversation with you right now.
Right.
I would be going out there, me and my wife, we'd be out there, we'd be turning it up right about now. If it was no God,
Yes.
we'd be out there, she'd be in the club, I'd be in the club, we'd probably be fighting one another.
Yes.
She, you know, she'd be doing her thing, I'd be doing my thing. We'd be the same way we was when we would not say if there was no God.
Yes.
Because we wouldn't have had no change in our lives.
No.
We've been in this thing too long for anybody to come along and tell us that now, after being in this as long as we've been in it, that you should believe that there's God because he doesn't exist. Okay. That's what you believe. That's fine.
That's
I don't have no problem with you if you don't
don't
believe
believe
God.
in
We
God,
can still
yeah.
be cool. I mean, and that's what it's about. Like I say and this is our gaming site, and I actually come here once a week just to do this. But I'll be sharing with you basically our life. But the thing is that I want you to know is that on this time, that we're about bringing people positivity. We're about bringing you the good news, and it's not about this craziness that you hear a lot of craziness around you. I could come on here and talk about current affairs, talking about every crazy thing that's happened in the last week, and believe me, it's a lot. But what sense would that make if I can't bring you any hope?
That's it.
If you can't see any hope in all this, because that's what it's about. It's about hope.
Exactly.
Because I don't care what the president's doing. I don't care who got married. I don't care about who shot who. All I want to do. Not saying we shouldn't care about those things,
Yeah.
but we shouldn't so be focused on it
That's
that we
it.
forget that there is still a God of hope.
That's
Even
it.
though it seems hopeless, God's still there. And you just got to really see it as it is. That he's still in control, even though everything seems to be turned upside down. God going to get the last word, guaranteed.
Oh yeah.
So like I say, we thank God. This is Dare to Be Different live. This is our live podcast that we do on every Sunday. We try to do it around about 7. We were a little late tonight because I had some streaming problems. I wanted to make sure everything was set.
Yeah.
And we're a little late, and so we thankful though for those that have come on and joined us. We thank God for those that hit us in the chat, and I want you to hit us on the follow. Follow us on, also you can follow us. I didn't get a chance to put my Twitter and everything down there. You can follow us on Twitter at Embrace Craig. That's our Twitter. And you can also follow us on Facebook and Embrace Marriage, Dare to Be Different. You can go to our website, which is right under here. You can go there to embracingmarriagetogether.wordpress.com. She is pointing to it. That one right there. Go there. That's what's going to have all our different platforms that we're on, all the different areas. You can join me during, and tomorrow I'll be doing a stream. I think I'm trying to stream early because tomorrow we're going to have to take care of some stuff, and I'm not going to have, I'm going to be out of pocket as far as my gaming part for at least a few days. But I'm going to do a little stream and try to do some old stuff. I'm working on some stuff. So what I'm gonna do is just kind of start a new game or whatever. I'm gonna do something. Just get some streaming on and just kind of communicate with you and chat with you and do whatever and start just talk to you just to let you know who I am and what I'm about and stuff, and just get to know people. That's what it's about. We're building a community, and I want you to be a part of that. I want to be part of the embrace community. That's what we are. We embrace one another. We embrace marriage. We embrace God. We embrace family, and we embrace marriage, and we embrace family. We embrace life. We just want you to live, and that's what it's about. Yeah. Okay, this is coming to the close. We are going to do another one, like I said, tomorrow night. We're going to. It's not going to be live. It's going to be pre-recorded. All our podcasts, like I said, is going to be a link on the website. That's going to take you to our podcast. You can follow us there on the website, or you can follow us there on these different platforms. However you way, we're everywhere pretty much. But like I said, we only do this live once a week, because just kind of get my wife familiar with the live aspect of our podcasting. Because I used to do it live, but she'd never done it. Believe me, this is her first time ever kind of doing this. Yeah. So she's my co-host, and she got a lot more to say. She usually just let me just go.
He's nice. But I just want each and every one of you to just remember the Lord your God, and He always remembers your labor of love. No matter what you do for Him, He's going to always remember your labor of love. Yeah. And we just want to encourage you on tonight just to remember and remember the Lord your God.
That's it. If you're listening at this on YouTube, like, share, subscribe, hit the notification button. The bell lets you know when we have new videos that come out. We'll be hopefully putting this up tonight. We had a video that we did on last I think it was day for yesterday. I was a little late putting that one up, but it's up now, which is I'll show you in the description. The video before. It's going to come up in the info thing above our heads here. Toxic Relationship Part 4. We did a series on toxic relationships. You can go check that out. And we'll, like I said, I'll give you that link to click on up there. So anyway, we thank you all the teams that joined us in the chat, all those that are listening to it. Like I said, follow us here on Twitch. Give us the support that we need so we can be able to do more for the kingdom, and also to be able to reach out to you more. If you want to be able to reach out to us, you can go on that website. We have a contact link where you can also hit us on Facebook. Well, yeah, you can, but just you can like our posts and stuff like that. But more Twitter. We also have a Discord, which, like I said, the link is also on the website for that. And we also have our contact page where you can go ahead and just send the information, email, and then send your requests, comments, or whatever. We like to hear from you. That's the big thing. Download these podcasts, listen to them at your leisure, whatever. But like I said, we thank God for you. We're going to close this up, and we want you to have a good Memorial Day on tomorrow. Enjoy the rest of your week, because we will be here with some more content for you to share it with you. God bless you tonight, and we'll see you on the next time.
Good night.